Welcome to the Vault Studios Fantasy Football Podcast, your one-stop shop for all fantasy football info. Here are your hosts.
Welcome to another episode of the Vault Studio Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Lewis Glover, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Corey. How you doing, man?
Good, man. It's another week 2. Excited as always.
Oh, man, can you believe it? We got through week 1. It was great. We had football back, and it's Thursday night here in Australia. We wake up, Thursday night football on Friday. I can't wait, even if it is the Bengals and the Browns. I'm excited. More football to look forward to, more fantasy points to be scored, more games to bet on. I'm excited. How'd you see this game going, by the way?
Man, it's a tough one. I really want to take the Bengals and not the Dolphins. I don't want to take them. I want to take the Bengals in the line.
Were they plus 6?
5.5. Yeah, it's gone up from 5.5 to 6. Last time I checked. Kind of like the Bengals plus 6, but I don't really want to trust Burrow. It's kind of a tough spot in 4 days rest to come in and do something, much different than what they had last week. So I think, this is a show me game for the Browns. Like, I think if they lose this game, it's pretty much over. It's rebuild time. Yeah,
it's a really interesting spot for both of these teams. Today I went back and watched the full condensed game of the Ravens Browns, and quickly before we get into everything else, I don't want to dive into a full game analysis. It was the Browns where they really fell down was on special teams. They were absolutely abhorrent on special teams. So many mistakes, so many unforced errors, which gave up field position, gave up points. So if they can tighten that up, it's going to be hard to do in a short turnaround. But I didn't think they were as bad offensively as sort of Twitter wanted to make out, although Baker did leave a few throws out there, obviously. And Odell wasn't great either. Odell had a pretty poor game. Few important drops on third down, or a drop on third down, and then a mistake, illegal touching coming in on third down as well. So really not ideal start for the Browns. They got absolutely shit kicked by the Ravens. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams go, and we can get a good idea of where these two teams are at, because we know the Ravens are a Super Bowl contender, and neither of the teams are. So let's see without immovable force on the other side of the ball. All right. Before we get into the meat of today's show, just want to remind everyone that we are brought to you by Breaking Oz Memorabilia. And if you're watching live, thank you for joining us. And you can see their logo in the top right-hand corner of the screen there. Bomb Breaking Oz Memorabilia. They are bringing you some of the best signed authentic helmets and merchandise in Australia. So head on over to facebook.com/groups/Breaking Oz and get involved in the razzes they've got going on over there. All right.
Yeah, I would just like to say about Breaking Oz Memorabilia, make sure you guys jump in there. Check them out on Facebook. It's a great opportunity to get, awesome helmets, jerseys, and signed memorabilia for, a fraction of the cost. So people out there that love the NFL, love all sports, want to get some sports memorabilia, it's a great place to get some. Like I said, for, a tenth of the cost in some cases. So, some breaks are easily won. Easily can get a spot for, $20, $30, $40, depending on the merchandise. But it's really got a good opportunity to get some awesome merchandise for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. We love the guys over at Breaking Oz. Great to have them on board. So check them out at facebook.com/groups/Breaking Oz. All right, quick rapid fire here, man. News and notes. There's a lot going on. We've had a lot of injuries as expected. Some soft tissue stuff. Some people going to IR already. It's been a mess. We expected this as the activity ramped up. They've gone from doing very little to full game speed. All right, the first one, the big one, I guess, is Chris Godwin is in the concussion protocol. He may or may not play. That's something you all need to keep an eye on. But really, my quick take from this is great for Mike Evans, and Scotty Miller's very much in play this week as well. What do you think?
Well, I've always been on the Evans train anyway. I think you can even sneakily send some offers out for Evans right now, because I think the people that did grab him that weren't in love with him just grabbed them begrudgingly. So it might be a time to buy him if you can. But yeah, I like Evans this week. I think, Bruce Arians came out and said he feels sad or disappointed when Mike Evans doesn't get 10 targets in a game. So like Mike Evans is going to have a million better matchups than he did the other week against the Saints and Lattimore. So yeah, I really like Evans. And yeah, I think Scotty Miller is going to be a season-long play, kind of like Amendola-esque from the Patriots days, where some days he blows up, other days he kind of messes with you.
Right. I mean, Mike Evans is going to absolutely go off this week. Despite the hamstring injury, he played nearly 90% or around 90% of the snaps against the Saints. He was shadowed by Lattimore. They have history. Lattimore always handles him well, although he did get that touchdown. But the Panthers are just going to be a smash spot all season long. Yeah. So fire up the Buccaneers against the Panthers, and I think Scotty Miller is going to have a day as well. My guy, Miles Sanders, practiced in full, or was at least in practice, and it looks like he's on track to play in week 2. So good news if you drafted Miles Sanders, like I did, a shitload of Miles Sanders. He was one of my guys going in, so it sucked to not have him week 1, but great to get him back for week 2. Should expect to see plenty of volume going ahead. What are your thoughts for Sanders in this matchup?
They need him. They need something in that offense. Zach Ertz looked terrible last week, even though he saved his day with a touchdown. Yuck. There's already talk about them potentially trading him, which has always been the case as if you're holding on to him in Dynasty. Goddard looked pretty good last week. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time there. But they definitely need some help in the offensive playmaker.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Apparently, before the game, Zach Ertz was having a shouting argument with an argument with Roseman about literally like in front of everyone, which can't be good going into the game, and that's where his headspace is at. Worried about his money. I don't believe he's got any guaranteed money left, or very little. He wants to be compensated the way that Kittle and Kelsey have this offseason, so you understand his concerns.
It's not happening.
Yeah, probably not to the same degree. We know what the Eagles are like. I thought it was interesting, actually, that it was on Monday Night Football. Ian Rappaport did an Instagram Live, and it was the first time he'd ever done it, I believe. There weren't many people watching him. It was quite cool. He answered a couple of my questions, and one of the ones was, can you see the Eagles trading Zach Ertz? And he said that he can't see it happening this season, but in the offseason, he basically is like, yeah, the Eagles probably going to trade him at the end of the season. They wouldn't get rid of him because they feel like they've got a pretty solid roster and can contend for the division. So unless they get an offer that blows them away, Ertz won't be on the move now. But don't expect him to see him in Philadelphia next season. James Conner killed many people by injuring his ankle in Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. Doesn't seem like it's super severe. I think that Benny Snell got out there. He looked good, and I think they just held him back because they know he's had injury problems, and they want him. They want him fit and healthy for the rest of the season. I still think Connor's the guy going forward, but Snell looked good. He looked a lot better than he did last season. He's lost weight. We had the Pittsburgh beat writers talking about how he had lost weight, was looking sharper, looking more spry, and that definitely showed on the tape, on the film. And Snell looked okay, and he was one of the hot commodities, one of the hot waiver wire pickups. So, are you confident playing Benny Snell if James Conner sits this week, or is on a pitch count?
Oh, it's tough. I think if Conner sits, then yes. If he doesn't, and there's some kind of muddled kind of group there, then probably not. I'll probably stay away from both. James Conner and him. I get it. You might not have a better option, but I just can't do it. Like, I got asked on Twitter, would you play James Conner if he's active? And I said, no, thank you. So I'm not going through what I did last week.
This is the thing, man. He could re-aggravate it. It's going to be a difficult decision to make, but it's not a gimme matchup either. The Denver Broncos run defense looked pretty solid. They kept Derrick Henry to, well under 4 yards per carry. He got over his 100 on volume alone. Jarrell Casey there was playing like a man possessed after being traded released from the Titans. So, this is a tough Denver Broncos run defense. Yeah, so it's a difficult decision. I don't think I'm playing Snell. I think it's going to be a mix. But if they come out and say Connor's 100% ready to go, I feel like I would need to play him. So yeah, that's where I am on James Conner. But Snell, I think everyone was too excited about, and I don't think you're going to be starting him this week. George Kittle, knee injury, isn't going to practice all week, but should be playing in week 2. It's the soft spot of all soft spots going against the New York Jets. Sonsler, Jamal Adams now. So do you need to see him practice? If he's active, are you playing him no matter what? Are you in that position with George Kittle?
Probably are, because most teams are rostering only one tight end, and Kittle's the guy that you basically rely on for those weeks that he doesn't have a bye. So if he's out there, you're playing him. You'll probably just, your expectations on the ceiling might be a little bit lower. Well, it will be lower. So hopefully you catch a touchdown, you'll be happy.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one for you, because he was quite involved and looked decent. Would you play Jonnu Smith over George Kittle? It's the name that pops in my head.
No, because I hate Jonnu Smith.
Oh, you hate Jonnu Smith. That's right. I forgot we're doing this whole bit where you hate good football players. That's my bad. I should have remembered that.
I did.
You hate athletic good football players.
I did bet Jonnu Smith anytime touchdown though, and it came through.
Happy days.
What about it?
Yeah. Okay. So that was
Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is interesting.
We'll talk about Logan Thomas a little bit later.
Okay. All right.
We'll park that, and we'll come back to Logan Thomas. Finally, the last player, news and notes, a guy who I thought was interesting, or I was very high on coming into the season. He popped off in week 1, now dealing with a hamstring injury because of that beautiful long touchdown run he had. Jamison Crowder, 69-yard touchdown, just commanded a huge market share. What are your thoughts on Jamison Crowder? Would you play him against the 49ers if he's active?
Yeah. He had a little bit of a hamstring issue coming into this game, apparently. So he ended up playing through it. Obviously had a huge game. It was kind of weird because I have Jamison Crowder a lot of spots, and I had to play him because of, Golladay injury, Evans injury. And like the first quarter, I don't think he touched the ball, and I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, oh my God, why did I play?
What have I done?
What have I done? And then he absolutely exploded. Had a great game. So I'm definitely playing Jamison Crowder again because there's not much else on that Jets offense right now.
Right. He had 115 yards and a score. He actually had the 3rd highest target share of all wide receivers in week 1, 39.4%. Just absolutely massive. Considering there isn't much else there at the moment, Perriman's hobbled, Denzel Mims, has been dealing with some stuff. Rookie Le'Veon Bell has gone to injured reserve for 3 weeks. That's another name we should probably mention here. Frank Gore's now the starter. Guys,
Gross.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to say this, but stop picking up Frank Gore off the waiver wire. He's not a thing. You're not starting him this week against the 49ers. What is wrong with you? Stop it. And if we come back to next week and Frank Gore has popped off and have some otherworldly game, I will eat humble pie. I will eat a massive pile of shit. But what are you thinking? Trying to play Frank Gore on the New York Jets against the San Francisco 49ers. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Playing Frank Gore in any situation. There's other options out there. I'd rather just throw out there if you're super desperate.
People are using waiver claims and fab on 87-year-old Frank Gore.
It's not a good idea.
Like, come on, guys. Stop. Use your brains. This is... All right. Okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hung up on this way too long. We're already 14 minutes in. I'm having a ton of fun. Let's move on now to buy and sell. Which just a few people or names that were either buying or selling their week 1 fantasy performance. Will it be sustainable through the season, or are we moving on? So, Corey, I'm going to hand it over to you. Who's your first name, and are you buying or are you selling?
Well, I'm going to ask you: are you buying Chris Carson's performance?
I'm going to say yes and no. I'm going to really flip it around here. So I'm buying Chris Carson's fantasy points, but I'm not buying the way he got them, 2 receiving touchdowns. But I am buying the fact that he's going to be way more involved. The Seahawks, just out of absolutely nowhere, decided to throw the ball like one of the highest rates in the league. They had the 6th highest rate. I know this because I just done a little video for it. But the 6th highest pass rate on first and second down in week 1, and the 5th highest pass rate in neutral or positive game script situations. That's the least Pete Carroll thing ever. That's the least Brian Schottenheimer thing ever. So I don't buy it. And then Pete Carroll said, "Yeah, but we want to get back to the run." What?
Yeah.
What?
Why?
Why? This is insane. But that's why I'm buying Chris Carson for the rest of the season, because of Pete Carroll's just obsession of playing 1980s smash mouth football. So, but you know, he is a competent receiver, and there isn't a ton of mouths to feed on that offense. So he is going to get a few targets, a few checkdowns from Russell Wilson, who, despite being a mobile quarterback, does get the ball to the running backs, you know, at an okay amount. So I am buying Chris Carson's productivity, but it's going to come more on the ground than through the air that it did in week 1.
My worry is just that Chris Carson played just 28 snaps in week 1. So all this production came from just 28 snaps after averaging 49.8 snaps per game in full games played in 2019.
So here's the insane thing. Before the week 1, games, we did our show last week, and I said I was worried about playing Chris Carson in week 1. And there was two of the reasons I gave were, one, he's coming off the hip fracture, and I thought he would be on a limited snap count. Check. Yep. That was, and he also had a shortened offseason. He'd been away from the team. He'd had a lot of family tragedy. He'd had deaths in the family, and he'd been away taking care of personal matters. I didn't think he was going to be used to his full complement, and he wasn't. It just so happened to be that they came out and went, full Russell Wilson and threw all over this shitty Atlanta defense. So I'm going to claim a moral victory, because even though Carson scored a load of points, he's, as you correctly pointed out, his involvement was way down on his usual or his previous usage. And I think that is going to go up. But I still think Carlos Hyde could be annoying. But I think as the weeks go on, there's definitely going to be more opportunities for Chris Carson, particularly as they want to run the ball more, because they love him.
All right, that's fair. You got one?
Yep. So my guy here, we talked about him just before. It is Logan Thomas.
Oh, I'm buying.
Oh, bro, good. We're buying Logan. We are buying Logan Thomas. He had a 26.7% market share, 8 targets at the tight end. I believe he's 3rd at the tight end position. Let me just pull up my sheet here. I'm pretty sure he was 3rd at the tight end position. He was. Darren Waller, Hunter Henry, Logan Thomas. The thing is, who else is there to throw to?
Nobody.
It's Terry McLaurin. It's
Steven
a bit of
Sims.
Steve Sims.
And that's it. And Logan Thomas.
And Logan Thomas, who's a physical specimen. He's a freak. If you need a tight end, go and get Logan Thomas. He's on a lot of waiver wires still. Yeah. He won't be for long.
No,
he will not be for long.
After this week, he won't be for sure.
Correct.
So I think he scores again.
Yeah. Just an absolute monster, and there's room for improvement as well. This is, this is all good stuff for Logan Thomas. So I'm all about it, and I'm buying Logan Thomas. All right, who have you got next?
I got the old Paris Campbell. So this is a guy that you sold me on earlier. Do you think he can keep it going here? Do you think he's a viable receiver throughout the year?
I do.
All right, so you're buying. We're buying all the Paris Campbell side.
I'm buying all the Paris Campbell. I drafted him a lot of places. I think he led all their receivers in snaps. If I'm correct, I just saw a tweet about it earlier. But he was the most targeted, the most involved receiver for the Colts. I'm buying it. He fits well with Rivers' absolute wash noodle arm skill set. So. And this week he's going to be huge. He's super athletic. He's got a really nice.
Nice, I think he is a huge game this week. I think if you're looking for like some DFS plays, which we'll get to later, but that's an interesting one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think he's going to be good going through the season, but he could have such a huge game this week that you might be able to go and flip him. You might be able to go and move him on, trade him at sort of quote unquote peak value, because he's had a really good week 1, has an absolute smash spot week 2, and they go, okay, let's get out a peak value here with Paris Campbell if you can. But we'll talk about that more next week. So we got a comment here from Tom Mace. Chris Carson injury prone, not sure on him. Yes and no. He had the hip fracture.
Tom, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'm not sure either.
I mean, so Chris, he's got his knocks and niggles and stuff, but there aren't many running backs that play 16 games. It's just the reality of the NFL. But I'm like I said, I'm all on the Chris Carson train, and I'll get as much out of him as possible. Injury prone is hard. It's just so hard to predict injuries.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Chris Carson, I am in on him. All right. Is it you or me?
It's you. It's your second one.
Oh, it's my second one. And I am selling a certain quarterback.
Oh, no. I know who it is.
Who do you think it is?
Aaron Rodgers.
Bingo!
Oh, you're going to die on this hill.
No, so I'm not selling him like this week because this week got a beautiful matchup against the Lions, right? This is another money spot they are playing the Lions. Yeah, I mean, right now, like everyone's like, "Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is back! He's on this big revenge tour." So you could already move him if you can sell Aaron Rodgers in redraft, like a one quarterback league, and you can trade him for a wide receiver 2 or a running back 2. Like I'm all for it. If you can get that deal done, you're a wizard. You should do it. But the Packers came out and they were one of the most pass-heavy teams after everything they did in the draft and after everything LaFleur's told us they want to be a more run-heavy team, a more balanced team. I just don't see this pass rate continuing. Also, by the way, he had a 9% touchdown rate, which is just absolutely ludicrous, and had a really sweet matchup against the Vikings. So this was, one of Rodgers' best performances in the last few years, maybe his best. Like, he looked sensational. Having said that, I'm not buying it for the course of the season. And I still feel that there's a chance that, but when it's all said and done, he's still around that like mid to late QB2. My bold prediction was he was outside the top 20 quarterbacks come the end of the season. He only needs like one more big performance and then mediocrity the rest of the way. And those blowout games will keep him inside the top 20. But I'm selling Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it. I think I'm probably on the more conservative side on that one. I probably hold him for now if I drafted him. Like in one of my redraft leagues, he wasn't even drafted, so he was on the waiver wire this week. So, I get it. I would hold off as well. However, I could see where he could just kind of keep this going, but I don't think that's what LaFleur really wants. So, I think it kind of comes back to what we saw last year.
Yep. So that's where I'm at. All right. Who's the next name on your list?
Austin Ekeler. I am selling. I do not like the look of this Chargers offense, and I'm selling probably all the parts I have in this Chargers offense. I have one share of Keenan Allen as well, and I just didn't like the way this Chargers offense looked. Tyrod Taylor looked like the Tyrod Taylor of old. If the guy's not wide open, he's really not throwing it to him, and he plays it super conservative.
Unless his name is Mike Williams.
Right, unless it's Mike Williams. 30 yards downfield. But yeah, for sure. Austin Ekeler, what are your thoughts on him?
I mean, I'm not selling him literally because you just can't get any value for him. I think there's better days ahead for Austin Ekeler. And that was the first thing that Anthony Lynn said after the game, or one of them. He's like, we need to get Ekeler more involved. It's just the way it's going to be. And I believe it when a running back coach, a former running back coach, now head coach says that. So I don't think Austin Ekeler turned into a bad running back overnight. And I do think they'll look to get him more involved. However, Tyrod not targeting the running back is a bit of a concern, but I do think he's going to get more opportunities, more carries, but the reality is with Josh Kelly's a thing, right? Kelly is a thing and he's not going away. So, but we also saw that Ekeler was still incredibly good and incredibly efficient when Melvin Gordon returned as well last year. So I do think if they can work it out and work to get him more touches, that he'll be just fine. But his absolute upside is probably capped. Where we thought it was in the pre-draft or in the preseason draft process.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit worried about it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Alrighty. My last guy, buying or selling, is Robbie Anderson. What do you think I'm doing here?
Selling?
Yeah, no doubt. 100% selling Robbie Anderson. Because, and I saw and was like, waiver priority, rushing to grab Robbie Anderson. The reality is he had 8 targets, which you like, but all of his production came on one big play. It was a 75-yard touchdown on absolutely busted safety play. I don't even know what it was. Number 25 for the Raiders was the worst angle for a tackle. It was absolutely shameful. It was like schoolyard stuff that just allowed Anderson to house it. And he had another target for about 11 yards. So 86 of his yards came on 2 of his 8 targets. He had 115 all up. So I'm just I'm not buying. In fact, I'm selling. One might say I'm selling. If I'm not buying, I'm selling Robbie Anderson. I didn't go for him on the waiver wire. I know a bunch of people did. I was just not interested at all. I could be wrong, but this week, who picks up Robbie Anderson and then plays him against the Buccaneers? Like, who's doing that? If you are and you're watching, show yourself.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not. There was so many better options. Like, I like guys like Keelan Cole better than him.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think there's just better options on the waiver wire. I just think it's too boom or bust, like usual Robbie Anderson stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we know how he makes his money, but we've got DJ Moore. We need to be concerned about, obviously. Yeah. He's going to lead the team. Curtis Samuel, just looking. Curtis Samuel had 23.5%. They both had 8 targets. So it's more of a concern for Curtis Samuel. DJ Moore had his 26% target share. Christian McCaffrey got his bunch as well. Just seeing some of the comments come up here. Josh is saying he went for him, but I needed depth at wide receiver on my bench. Fine. That's absolutely. If you need someone, you're going to put on the bench, and in a nice matchup or in a bye week, you may be able to put him in. That's absolutely fine. But I know people were like rushing for him, and rushing for him, and you're not going to play him this week. So that's sort of where I'm at with Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. Is that 3? Did you start? I'm lost.
Yeah, that's 3, man.
That's 3. Wow. We flew through that. We absolutely flew through that. So those who were here last week saw we had Clinton from DraftKings Australia. Unfortunately, he can't be with us this week, but he was kind enough to send through his sort of favorite plays. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. So
I'm in this week for the contest, bro. You're going down. Everyone's going down.
All right, we'll see. So you got your account verified. You're all good. You sorted.
I'm all good. I'm sorted. Got sorted like 20 minutes before kickoff, so I couldn't get in the first one. But then I got in some other ones, and then so I'm definitely in for this week. I'm trying to win it all.
Awesome. So for those listening or not aware, each week I'm running a winner takes all DFS contest just for fans of Fantasy Football Down Under. So check out Fantasy Football Down Under on Facebook or the Facebook group, and the link will be posted there tomorrow to be able to join that contest and get involved. It's only $5 entry, just a little small amount of money, but it's all about the bragging rights, and I'm gonna absolutely take Corey to town.
We'll have to talk about it.
All right, we'll talk about it. But what I'll do here, these are Clint's plays. So if they're terrible, please go find I think it's at Clinton DK on Twitter. Go find him and shout at him there if you don't like these plays. But I'll just go through position by position. Quarterback starting, he's gone from Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and the absolute low price option he's gone with is Tyrod Taylor. Now, I'm guessing he's thinking Tyrod didn't look good, but he's still got that rushing upside, and he's incredibly low price, and he's going to be incredibly low owned. So he's going to be more of a GPP play or a tournament play. At the quarterback position, his running backs here are Zeke, Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, and then again, the cheap option he's gone with is Benny Snell. And the caveat there, I'm sure, being that if Connor is active and ready to go, we're not playing Snell. But
how good did Zeke look though?
He did good. He looked very good. Although that tackling by the Rams, where he just took 4 of them out of their cleats, was just embarrassing. It was just like, you ever watch videos of 7-year-old children playing soccer, and the entire pitch, the entire team, both teams are just following the ball all over the pitch. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, that's right. Young kids, that's literally your life. But that's exactly what the Rams defense was like there. Just everyone's like, oh, Zeke. And everyone, oh man, it was bad. It was bad defense. And we got 4 wide receiver names here as well. Julio Jones, of course. Amari Cooper in an absolute smash spot against the Falcons.
Gross.
Shut up. Cut your shit. He had 4th highest, 37% market share. It's going to be great. Cooper is going to be great. Will Fuller, who looked every bit the wide receiver 1, he did well. Should have had a bigger day if he wasn't underthrown by Deshaun Watson. And guy we talked about earlier, who we really like, and we talked about what a great spot he is in, Paris Campbell. He's going to be in a lot of my lineups this week. Now the tight end position, Old Faithful, Mark Andrews, just what a monster. He is just incredibly good.
He was a monster.
Man, just too good. Too good. He's gone for Zach Ertz, gone back to the well with Zach Ertz, and then Hunter Henry as well. Hunter Henry had the 2nd highest market share at the tight end position. So some interesting production potentially from Hunter Henry. And then we have 3 defensive names he's put up here: the Buffalo Bills, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Tennessee Titans. What do you think about those defenses? I'm playing Tampa in a lot of my sort of redraft leagues this week.
Yeah, Tampa makes sense. I think everyone was playing the Colts, I felt like, last week, or thought it was going to be a good idea. That didn't work out so well. I mean, the Saints defense has to be up there against the Raiders. Even like Baltimore's defense against the Texans, because I think Deshaun Watson's going to be pressing a little bit. So, yeah, I like the Titans against the Jags. That makes sense. And maybe even Green Bay as a sneaky kind of play against Detroit.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm going to go back to I played them in nearly every lineup because they were the absolute cheapest on the slate, and it's Washington. And I was just like, with the Eagles' thin offensive line, and we talked about this. We talked about it with Clint when he was on the show. I don't care if a team scores points. I'm looking for sacks, fumbles, turnover plays in my DFS defenses. And the fact that they had such a nasty defensive line going up against a paper-thin offensive line, and they were the absolute min price on the slate. It just didn't make any sense to me that everyone wasn't playing them. So that worked out. That worked out nicely. Had in that element of my lineups, unfortunately, the other elements of my lineups didn't come together for me in week 1. But I was very happy about the Washington football team call. So I might go back to the well there, knowing that the Cardinals don't have the best offensive line, and even though Kyler's got some mobility, I still think that that he can get it, maneuver himself into trouble and get some cheap sacks. Mobile quarterbacks often give up plenty of sacks, so I do like the football team defense in DFS again. So those are the DraftKings plays of the week. All right, man. Let's move ahead now. We're going to look at our 2 favorite sort of fantasy games to target. This can also apply in daily fantasy as well. But guys teams that we really want to be getting these players into our lineups, into our starting lineups, which game have you gone for? And who are you playing and who are you fading out of this matchup?
Well, I'm taking the Ravens-Texans game. And like we talked a little bit about, it's kind of obvious for me because I love Lamar Jackson, but he's been absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad I drafted him everywhere, even at the price. Like Mark Andrews last week was amazing. I mean, he had career high 71.2% on Baltimore's offensive snaps he played. And he ran a pass route on 86.7% of team dropbacks. So he was getting out. He wasn't in, blocking or anything like that. So the thing about that is I think, Marquise Brown was awesome last week as well. I know he didn't get in the end zone, but I believe he had 5 catches for 101 yards.
Yep.
Seeing him healthy has been, it's sensational to see. I mean, I just think that, Brown led all receivers in yards per route run, 4.21 yards among those with double-digit routes. So I could see him going off in this one as well because the Texans secondary is not anything to write home about. Right. Obviously, on the other side of the ball, you got Deshaun Watson. You got Will Fuller. We don't know what the deal is with Brandon Cooks. Randall Cobb did not look good last week. Will Fuller, if he's going to get 10 targets like he did last week, it's going to be pretty good. But it's a tough matchup, to be fair.
It is a tough matchup.
This Ravens secondary is not not to be played around with. So Jordan Akins is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, Akins is interesting.
He ran 32 routes in week 1, 80% of dropbacks. So he was targeted just 2 times, 2 for 39, 1 touchdown. But Baltimore did allow some movement with the Cleveland tight end. So that might be a spot where they can target this Ravens defense. But yeah, I like this matchup because I think both these quarterbacks are going to be hyped up for this game and kind of go tit for tat against each other. So
yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this game. As you said, Brandon Cooks concerns me. Will Fuller's electric.
Just waiting for him to pull his heavy.
Nah, it's not that. It's just a really tough matchup. Like, he could get Marcus Peters. He could see Marlon Humphrey. Like, there are no easy beats. Having said that, I can also see it playing. Like, seeing it in my head right now is that Marcus Peters just gets absolutely toasted by him on a route, and he houses a 60-yard touchdown as well, because Marcus Peters does have that tendency, because he is he does try to make splash plays, and sometimes he gets caught out. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I am playing Will Fuller this week. I'm just slightly lowering my expectations. But
your offseason, favorite running back is a great matchup to this week. Just throw David Johnson in your lineup because they don't have any other options.
Right. I mean, it's Johnson's hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
who have they got? Like, is Tyler Irvin still on the Texans? Is like the
who
special?
knows?
I don't even know. Who they put back there.
David Johnson's going to be out there. He's going to get checkdowns. He's just going to rack up points. It's not going to be pretty. It's not something you're going to be like, ooh, look at Dave Johnson. No, just close your eyes. Look at the score after the game and take your 19 points and run out of there. He
looked all right in week 1.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't. Yeah, so it was good to see him back and healthy and score a touchdown, and he definitely looked all right. So that's the game you're interested in the most. That's the game you're trying to get your fantasy points from. Me, I've gone for the Atlanta Falcons Dallas Cowboys matchup.
The juiciest matchup.
I mean, it's just going to be beautiful because we saw the Falcons just don't want to play defense. They can't play defense.
Nope.
And we've got a trio of wide receivers who are going to absolutely go to town on this secondary. I think it's going to be all good things.
It's a trio on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Russell Gage is one of the surprises of the week. He had 12 targets. He and Julio Jones. He and Julio Jones. He had nine.
12. They all had 9, didn't they?
Yeah. 12 targets, and then my guy Calvin Ridley. That was awesome. To see him pop off. Matt Ryan, we talked about it in the preseason. I said he's going to lead the NFL in passing yards. Week 1, let's just call it a win right there. Lead 150. Yeah. Look. So, I love this game. I'm targeting pretty much everyone except dusty old Todd Gurley. I don't want any. I'm not interested in him. I think it's going to be a shootout. But
he actually looked pretty good last week, especially early. I watched a rewatch of that game, and he was looking a little spry.
Was he though? Sorry, I'm just going to throw this up. Dingus, what's going on, Dingus? It is Corey Davis season. It is Corey Davis season. It's finally here. It's the year of the breakout. Corey Davis looked good, man. Corey Davis.
He was like the 5th pick overall.
It's all finally coming together. I hope he plays himself into a nice contract on a new team. Good for him, Corey Davis.
Yeah, please get out of Tennessee.
It is Corey Davis season. Yeah, he's upsetting AJ Brown.
Oh,
but yeah, man.
AJ Brown.
I thought Gallup looked great. He obviously got hosed on that terrible OPI call. It was just dreadful.
Yeah.
But I thought Gallup looked good, and pour one out for Blake Jarwin.
Yeah, that was tough.
The ACL just absolutely sucks. Get week one. Just you hate to see it. A guy I really liked I went back and made the fatal mistake of looking at my best ball rosters and
Yeah, I
realized
can't even find ours, by the way.
and have a lot. I've drafted a lot of Blake Jarwin, so that's upsetting. By the way, they're in the mock draft section of Sleeper, so you can find them in there if you want to look at your roster.
I was looking through my 20 something leagues, and I was like, "Where's this basketball stuff?"
No, they're just mock drafts, which get scored through a Google sheet from our friends at King Fantasy Sports. Rich doing amazing work there with the King Fantasy Sports best ball tool. So great stuff there. But really excited for this game. I mean, there's just so many good matchups this week. But those are the two games that we're particularly looking forward to. Is there? I'm just going to throw something to you off the cuff. It's not on the running order. Is there a guy that has been drafted highly that you just absolutely want to you want no part of this week? Someone you're sitting that you just like, you know what, this matchup doesn't do it for me, or is there someone that you're just hard fading?
It's probably Kenny Golladay if he plays.
Mm-hmm.
That really worries me, concerns me. Obviously, he was one of the top 10 receivers taken in the draft. It's really concerning to me. I'm a little bit worried about that whole Detroit Lions situation. I came in pretty high on them, and now it's, they lose that terrible week one where Swift drops a touchdown, and then now they got to play the Packers. They could easily be 0-2, and you're looking like normal Detroit Lions here.
Yeah, 0-2 within the division as well. Just
yeah, it worries me a lot. That whole situation. Marvin Jones didn't really play that well last week either. It was like Danny Amendola show. So, that's probably my biggest concern. And I'm probably not playing Golladay, even though I have him. If he's playing, I'm probably going to sit another week and just kind of see what happens.
That's fair. I mean, it feels like a bit of a Mike Evans situation, right? No one was playing.
Yeah.
No one was playing Mike Evans last week. It's just one of those things that, the chance of a donut is just too high, a bit of re-aggravation. So, I get that. And hopefully Marvin Jones can actually do something this week and not cost me all the money. All the money's in DFS in week one because I was way overloaded on Marvin Jones. But Corey, we've got to correct something, man. We've got to rectify something because I just realized when we're doing our news and notes, I mean, shame on me for having a brain fart and not putting it on the rundown. Shame on you for not being like, hey, where's this piece of information? Michael Thomas, man. Michael Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
We should probably talk about the number one receiver that was or the guy who was being drafted as the number one receiver this year.
I'm fading him this week.
You're fading Michael Thomas. Well done. That's a bold call. I'm just going to take a few seconds here to run my own little victory lap because segment we're throwing out. Oh, thanks. Thank you. For those who'll be listening on the podcast later on, our esteemed producer, JA, has just thrown up on screen segment we are throwing out at the last minute because Lewis is a bad host. Pretty much sums it up. But you interrupted my victory lap, JA, because Davante Adams was my wide receiver one this season in the rankings. Many people, the consensus was Michael Thomas, but I'm not victory lapping the injury. It absolutely sucks. I love watching Michael Thomas play. I want to see him out there. But Davante Adams looked sensational in week one. So, and he got all the targets and all of the fantasy points. So happy days if you drafted Davante Adams. So let's address this New Orleans Saints situation. They're playing the Las Vegas Raiders, so they got a premium matchup this week.
Yep, beautiful matchup.
How do you see this offense shaking out in the absence of Michael Thomas? I've got a very fixed picture in my mind of how this is going to go. I want to hear your take, and then I'll give mine.
Yeah, I think the addition of Emmanuel Sanders puts them in a better spot to handle this. However, Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas are very different players. So that being said, I think it gives a boost to Jared Cook. Any Jared Cook shares out there, I think Kamara is absolute monster, especially in this matchup. If you're not playing him in DFS, I don't know which kind of matchup you're looking for to find a better one, but there's not much of a better one here. So I think Kamara takes a even bigger step up in this offense, especially because Drew Brees did not look particularly good. He did throw a nice long pass to Jared Cook, and apparently he's been working on his lower body so he can throw 60 yards in the air now. So whatever that means. But yeah, that's being said, I'm a little bit sketchy on Traquan Smith. I think, the Saints have enough of those guys that no one's really heard of. I think they played one of those guys was last week where I can't think of his name, but he was like a super smallish wide receiver, super fast. He's like 5'7", 165 pounds.
Deontay Harris.
Yeah, and they were using him.
He's their returner, right?
Yeah, but they used them in offense. They threw him a couple screens and things like that. So I think they could get super gadgety. They could throw Taysom Hill out there. They could just do a bunch of different things that the Saints like to do to keep you off guard. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, yeah, Traquan Smith, plug him in my lineup. I want to see it this week. Emmanuel Sanders is probably a go. Jared Cook's a go, and Alvin Kamara. But be ready to, grab one of these under the radar signings that the Saints might have on their roster.
Yeah. So my thoughts were everyone was rushing to get Emmanuel Sanders. I went and picked up Traquan Smith in a few places. I think if Thomas is going to be out 3 or 4, 2 to 3 weeks, he's going to go on the IR. We'll know a bit more in a few days what's going on there. But the guys, it's a high ankle sprain. These are problematic, and if they don't do it properly, it's going to be with him for the rest of the season. This is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. This is a very good roster, and I think it's more likely than not that they shut him down for 3 weeks. They get him on the IR
at least 3 weeks. I think it might be more.
Yeah. So
if you look at Kamara had a similar injury last year, high ankle sprain, and he did not look good all year long. So I think they're going to have to be smart about this.
They're going to be really smart in managing him. So I want to see it from Traquan Smith, but Jared Cook, full steam ahead. He's one of my favorite plays this week. Jared Cook, Alvin Kamara, as you said. I think it's entirely possible, because we see it fairly regularly anyway, that Alvin Kamara lines up out wide. He lines up in the slot. And I think we could see some 2-back sets. I think this is probably a good thing for Latavius Murray as well. The Saints love Latavius Murray, and I think they might look to get him involved more in the run game if they're gonna lean on Kamara more in the passing game. They think he's, the way they paid him, we know how they value him. He's one of the best pass catching backs in the league. So I think they may utilize him as a de facto wide receiver, and they're going to get Latavius Murray involved. And guys, everyone talks about Tom Brady and his pick six and so on and so forth. Drew Brees did not look good. Sorry, Saints, but Drew Brees did not look great in week 1. We'll see how he's got a much easier matchup this week, but he did not look great, certainly in week 1. So I think it's going to be these short area guys, Kamara, Cook, and so on and so forth. So that's where I'm at with the Saints. Traquan, definitely worth a pickup. Get him on your bench. I want to see it. Sprinkle them in your DFS lineups, because you never know, right? This is a sort of one of these guys. Sprinkle them in. I get a little bit of exposure to the Saints offense, because we don't know who's going to pop. We don't know how these targets are going to be distributed. But right now, concentrate on Cook and Kamara is where I am at. All right, let's move on now. We've got our top sport bet of the week. And it's we love our friends over at Top Sport, and you're gonna like this multi. You're gonna like this multi bet I've put.
I love a good multi.
I know you do. Now I don't know. Can we get a graphic on screen? Or JA, are you able to do that, or do you just sit there making snide comments? Let's see if JA can get a graphic up on screen. Because if not, I mean, we're going to have to find it. I thought he was a computer techie guy. He can't. Okay. Jay, can't get a graphic up on screen. That is okay. So I'm going to read this out for you. It is a 4-fold bet, the Top Sport bet of the week. Devontae Adams, as we know, at least 101 receiving yards. Mike Evans, at least 71 receiving yards. Austin Eckler, at least 56 rushing yards. And Kareem Hunt, at least 42 rushing yards. Now, I think all of those are really achievable, particularly the 2 wide receivers. I think Adams is going to smash. There's no one else to catch the ball. Evans is definitely going to get fed this week after what Arian said. Potentially, the wheels. Look at that. High production value. He did it. I can put my phone down. It's right there on screen for everyone to see. Adams, Evans, Austin Eckler, and Kareem Hunt. Austin Eckler, we talked about, right? And I just think he's going to get fed the ball enough times. He breaks a couple away, and I think he does manage to get there on the 56 yards. Also, the Chiefs do not have a good rush defense. You can run the ball on the Chiefs. Tougher secondary to deal with, real tough secondary to deal with, and passing the ball, but you can run the ball on the Chiefs. And then finally, Kareem Hunt, he looked really, really good. The Bengals don't have a great defense, and it's a clear timeshare with Chubb and Hunt. And I think 42 yards is, conceivably he can do that on 5 or 6 carries, just how good he looked and how efficient he is. But I think he gets, somewhere in the range of 8 to 10 carries, and I think he gets there. But the good thing is you can see on screen, you can see those odds, $1.87, 86, 88. Guys, if you fold these into a multi-bet, it's paying $12.29 on TopSport. So head on over to topsport.com.au, choose the Vault Studio as your referrer, sign up, head on over to the player bet section and build your own multi. You can adjust these lines as well. So if you think 71 is too short for Mike Evans, you can juice it up to 75, 78 yards, and those odds will go up with it as well. Topsport.com.au. Thank you to our friends at TopSport. And yeah, I've already put my money down on this, so I'm excited. I had a few come in for me last week, won some, lost some, but overall came out on top week 1. Looking forward to wagering some more in week 2. And as always, please remember to gamble responsibly. All right, we've got 10 minutes left, man. We've got listener questions piling up all over the place. Jay is going to throw them on screen. Rapid fire. First one from Bryce Whitfield on Facebook. Do you think that Mr. Unlimited will be able to replicate his week 1 form, or will Gilmore and the Pats D show him up to be as fake as his I'm not boring alter ego? So what do you think? Russell Wilson, are you playing him in week 2? What do you think?
Well, you have to play him. I don't think you're benching Russell Wilson at this point anywhere. I do think it's a tough matchup. I think the Patriots will do everything they can to make them very one-dimensional. I think the Patriots probably want them to run the ball, so I will expect them to have lots of DBs on the field, bracketing Lockett, taking away everything that he wants to do. I probably think Gilmore will probably be on Metcalf.
Yep.
If I had to suggest anything, and they double up Lockett over the top coverage, and try to do their best to slow that down. And I think if you're going to play a running back, play Carson, because I think he'll just pile up yardage just based on, because the Patriots don't really care about that. They'll run the ball, keep the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. Pete Carroll wants to go back to the run game, and he's going to be like, "Oh, we're at home. We want to impose our will. We want to run the ball. We want to don't give possessions over to New England, etc., etc." And we know the strength of the Patriots' defense is their secondary, is their defensive backs, with all of the opt-outs and losses in the offseason to the line and the linebacking core there. So yeah, I think you're playing Russell Wilson, but certainly downgrade expectations. I am not expecting all the same number of pass attempts either. All right, next question. This comes from Chris Morris. Are you starting CD Lamb as a 53-point over-under? Yeah, we talked about this. Fire up CD Lamb. Fire up
your Cowboys.
Start your Cowboys. Fire up them Cowboys. Start your Falcons. This is a game. This is a game I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I'm happy starting CD Lamb, especially with Jarwin hurt now as well. Jason Suleiman, after which week will Gase get fired? For Jets fans, football lovers, Jets offensive players, and for my eyeballs. I mean, I thought the gentlemanly thing to do would be have taken Gase out at halftime and just executed him at the halfway line. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We live in a civilized society. But man, what do you think? Do you think Gase sees out the season or no?
I don't know. I think that ownership kind of group is kind of in a tough spot. I think the actual owner is like the ambassador to the UK, so I don't know if they're going to make that decision.
Dude, they literally just called him an offensive genius.
I mean, if it gets really bad, like a horse with a broken leg, if it gets really bad, I think it's definitely possible, like week 6, week 7, if they're 0-6 or 0-7. I could see that happening, just because the GM there is new and he's not really tied to them at all. So I could see them moving on. But yeah, I think Yeah, I think it's possible. Definitely possible. 50-50
It's-
chance.
Just see this scenario playing out. It's just a practice, and Joe Douglas strolls down onto the practice field, and he calls over Adam Gase. Adam, Coach Gase, just come over here. I just need to talk to you behind this equipment shed. You just hear a single bullet shot ring out. Joe Douglas is just he's just put down Adam Gase and ended the misery of all Jet fans and football fans. That would be the civilized thing to do, I think, from GM Joe Douglas. Yeah, but I think he's the odds-on favorite to get fired. Kevin White, is Joshua Kelly more than just Austin Eckler's backup? Yeah, for sure he is, right? This is very much Austin Eckler's still a lead dog in this situation, but man, Kelly, for now, come on now, stop.
For now, for now.
Well, you think he's going to get this into a full-blown timeshare?
No, but I think Eckler has never been, the number one guy. So I think it's definitely possible that Joshua Kelly kind of takes that over eventually. I'm not saying it happens within the next 5 games or anything, but could get to by the end of the season where it's a 50-50 split.
Okay, no, that's fair. But I think for the next few weeks at least, this is very much Austin Eckler's job. Josh Kelly might get some goal line carries for sure, some high leverage situations. Yeah, but he is more than just a backup. He is going to be involved. We've got at MD. Can't see who that is. Hold on, let me scroll back up here. Scroll in the comments. Where are we? So we got at MD Lawson 00. Do I risk playing James Conner or just sit him? Oh, man, right. Yeah, easy. I think I'm in City as well. Like I said earlier on, it's a tough matchup, and if he doesn't, he's not practiced yet. If he's going to be limited or anything like that, they saw what they had in Snell. I think for this week, it's probably just safer to sit him and play someone else.
For sure.
Jerry Mendoza, how do you think Jonathan Taylor will go this week? Wow. If you drafted Jonathan Taylor, congratulations. You just made a profit because he's now the lead back in, what ostensibly looks like it's going to be a good situation. Going against the Vikings.
I don't love that matchup, but
I don't love the matchup, but it's not terrifying at the moment. Danielle Hunter's still on IR, right? So
I'm definitely playing him over the likes of James Conner.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Definitely RB2 this week. Fire him up.
Oh, I think high-end RB2 with significant upside because he's got that long speed. He's got the big home run playability and this passing game usage. That was the crazy thing. We didn't think that Jonathan Taylor was going to be heavily involved in the passing game. Obviously Nyheim Hines was a big factor, but I think Taylor had 6 targets or 6 receptions on 6 targets, something like that. Just well used in the passing game. That and the fact that he's probably going to get the bulk of the early down work. Then this is just great for you if you drafted Jonathan Taylor. It sucks for Marlon Mack. You always feel for a guy getting hurt. He did his Achilles. You probably have to think that his time is up with the Colts as well, given that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. So this is very much Jonathan Taylor's backfield this year and moving forward. Eric, what's going on, man? Which San Francisco receiver should I play? Will Sanu get bulk targets? Is Bourne the better play? I already know where Corey's going with this. Corey?
I'm going to stick with my guy, Bourne. Don't play Sanu yet.
No.
I would stay away from the San Francisco receivers if I could.
Yeah, Ayuk could be interesting sort of moving forwards. If they say he's full go, in very deep leagues or, in a DFS lineup, Ayuk could be interesting. I'm playing Jimmy Garoppolo this week, that's for sure. But I think Bourne could be very much in play. Trent Taylor as well, because if Kittle is banged up, we've got to monitor this if he's going to be on a pitch count. And Jordan Reed becomes interesting as well. I haven't seen many people talking about Jordan Reed, but he is a very good pass catcher. And if Kittle can't go, Jordan Reed is certainly someone interesting to monitor as well, because there are a lot of warm bodies, not many warm bodies. I don't know. There's not many wide receivers available for the 49ers. Anyway, Jonathan Duarte, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I didn't. Jonathan from Raider Nation. Who am I flexing this week? J.K. Dobbins or David Montgomery? That's an easy one for me. Give me J.K. Dobbins. What about you?
Yeah, going J.K. Dobbins this week as well. Holding off on Montgomery for now.
Yeah, and the New York Giants, your secondary isn't great, but their run defense wasn't terrible. I didn't think. Like I thought Snell, but they weren't an absolute liability. The Ravens' run game is just so good, and the touchdown upside for J.K. Dobbins is so much higher, which is something that you're trying to get in your flex as well. I feel. All right. Any more questions? No, I think we covered them all. Thank you to everyone who stopped by and said hello. Seeing some comments here. I saw Faith stop by. Hi, Faith. Thank you for coming by and saying hello. And thank you for everyone who asked questions. This was awesome. I really love this. Oh, we got one more. We got one more from Kyle Garcia. I'm gonna got one. We made it right before the cutoff. Congratulations, Kyle. Thank you for tuning in. Right. Okay. Oh, this is a big one. It's a big one. Settle in. He's got Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, Robbie Anderson, Jameson Crowder, Adrian Peterson, Cam Akers. Holy shit. Okay. He needs one receiver and 2 flexes. Who is he choosing? Okay. Allen Robinson.
Robinson.
And Allen Robinson. Absolutely. And Terry McLaurin.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, Sammy Watkins tempts
Keep
me.
it simple.
He really does. Sammy Watkins tempts me. But yeah, I'm going to go Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, and Marquise Brown. They're the 3 guys I'm putting in there. Marquise Brown is the clear number 1. Allen Robinson, clear number 1. And Terry McLaurin, clear number 1. So you can get the guys who are the alpha dogs on their offense. Jameson Crowder is another one. I monitor his hamstring.
Let's not complicate it, Lewis. Let's just
all right. Okay. You're right. I'm overcomplicating things. That's the 3. Thank you everyone who has tuned in. Thank you everyone who listened. Please be sure to subscribe. Follow Corey on Twitter at CMoney52. Follow me at FF_downunder. Click like, click subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. Tell your father. Tell your siblings. Tune into the Vault Studio Fantasy Football Podcast. Good luck everyone this week. And that's it. We'll catch you next week. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone.
Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to keep up with our video content, head over to YouTube, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Thanks for listening.